Well, good afternoon or good evening if you're in the USA, and if you are overseas, like my guest Olivia, it's already wonderful Wednesday morning. I am Bruce, aka the guy in the blue shirt, and my method is simpler, faster, better. And I help people actually do process cleanup, or I'm a process cleaner, some people call me. So I am, as you can tell, Olivia and I have already been having fun offline in the green room, and she got me giggling already. So sorry. All right, Olivia, I'm going to shut up. You, all
Love
right.
it.
Tell us where you're from. Somewhere in Australia, New South Wales.
Yeah, I'm in New South Wales. I think a lot of people may know Byron Bay, and right now I'm about a 10-minute drive from Byron Bay in New South Wales, and it's a beautiful day today. It's nice and sunny and dry, and spring is on the way in Australia.
Awesome. Spring is on the way. So yeah, we're going to talk about everything from, the face of video to not only empowering, but making sure that people kind of understand there's some very subtle things about retainment or retention of staff in today's world, particularly with a lot of digital access. I mean, imagine like even 3 years ago, I can't even imagine. Number one, I wasn't a host. Number two, I was an all in-person person. And so I was a typical old analog guy that never used digital media and definitely didn't use video. So
Most of us, a lot of us were that way inclined.
yeah, absolutely. Well, it was the way we were kind of, as I said, brought or drug up. In my case, I was dragged through many lessons learned that I really didn't want to learn. But hey, I got
That's
there.
life. Yeah, yeah.
Right. All right. Well, tell us a little bit about yourself, and for those of you that don't know you, and if you're in the comments listening, please jump in and at least say hi, even if you say hello and where you're from. Because we don't know you're listening unless you get in the comments. I have no way of telling. All right, Olivia.
Awesome. So I am a video and presenting skills coach. And I'm also an actor and presenter. And I had a great idea, excuse me, a few years ago to merge those things together. So my business 𝐿𝐼 is all of that combined. And I work primarily with leaders and their teams to really help to transform their employees into video champions and video ambassadors for that company, for that employer brand, so that they can build awareness, they can attract talent, they can retain, and also just, they can start having fun with this awesome communication tool, which is very engaging. So I do a lot of work with teams, and I do work one-on-one with people too. And I've got a couple of things, brewing in the background as well with 𝐿𝐼, with services and ways that I can contribute to people and help them be themselves in front of a camera.
Yeah. Well, if we're not learning, as you say, with your 𝐿𝐼 organization and not having got new things in the pipeline, then in today's world you're actually going backwards. So a lot of people don't realize that, and like you, I have a mystery to reveal soon, so I'm working on some cool stuff. So
yay!
Yeah,
it's great to keep learning, and I'm so curious. I'm always wondering, how can I best help people that need help with camera confidence or need help with scripting their content. So I just keep a really curious mind and get feedback when I can. And now there's a few things in the works, so stay tuned.
Well, my new buddy, Mr. Groovy, is really a person. He lives in Los Angeles. So, Mr. Groovy, hello.
Hi, Mr. Groovy. I love Los Angeles. I've spent lots of time there, more so as an actor, although I have been there for business as well. But I love LA. It's such a great vibe, best weather ever, and awesome people. I love Americans.
Yeah, well, thank you. Well, I'm half and half, so I'm almost at that equal point where I'm half English in years and half American in years. So, but so, when people say, well, how old are you, Bruce? And I say in total or in American. So I usually give my American age just to...
I like that.
Yeah, I like messing with people's heads,
Keep it fresh. Keep people on their toes.
Keep it moving. That's right.
Yeah,
Keep it grooving. Mr.
yeah,
Groovy likes
yeah.
keeping it moving.
Right on, he says.
Right on, he says. Yeah. And actually, he's, I think he's going to be meeting us at one of the group events I mentioned to you offline soon. So it'll be great
Beautiful.
to meet him in person and get to hear more of his story. So it will be really good.
Awesome.
So, of course, people, I love real stories. And so what are some of the high points that you've come across that, people may not realize are the benefits, particularly about where it relates to retention and making the employees the advocate of the brand that they work for? So what are some of the moments that you'd like to share with people, unexpected good moments, and then we'll cover some maybe not so good moments. I have a not so good moment, but
To be honest, over here, I think with large organizations, video is still fairly new.
right.
Smaller agencies or boutique businesses, they're a bit more agile. But I've just been working with a logistics company here. They're all over Australia, and it's been such a high for me because, especially this year,
Right.
started off how it started off. We might get to that. And so I jumped into this project with this organization who really understood that they understood the power of video, and they had a training program that they were bringing in because they were rebranding. The company had split. They've gone off on their own, and they understood the power of video. They really wanted to engage everyone. So they decided with their new training that they were putting through that was going to transform that business, they decided they wanted video at every part of that training. And they decided that they wanted their own employees to be the faces of those videos. And the feedback has just gone off. Like, they all feel like superstars. And these are people who are, they're general managers of teams, but it's also people who drive a forklift or who drive a truck or who operate a crane. These are people who don't necessarily get in front of the camera or even have an email address, some of them, other than their work. So for them to learn these skills and to have a chance of being in front of a camera and to be part of that experience, I mean, for me personally, it was so satisfying to see their confidence grow in real time. But the feedback from that client, honestly, it's like they're video famous now at work, and they internally have had such good feedback from their stakeholders, because I suppose when people are seeing their own employees, their own colleagues on camera, it gives them that feeling of, oh, I can do that too. And, it's not a paid actor doing it, so it's very believable. It's very engaging. So that's been a really recent highlight for me and for that team, to really feel on the same side. They're going in the same direction for that same vision. I think it's been very powerful.
Right. Well, I was going to ask you if it was a company, the word logistics gets used in multiple ways. So I was going to ask you if it was a company that moves stuff around, and it immediately reminded me, if you don't know her, but there's a lady called Margot Cargo Fargo that does stuff inside of businesses, and she tends to focus on logistics stuff as well. So
that is a great name. It sounds familiar. I'm going to have to look her up. But that is a great name. Think of that for a brand. You don't forget that.
You don't. Well, Margot's pretty smart. So
yeah, I can tell. I can tell already.
Yeah, and she does some interesting posts, and she does some interesting live streams as well from time to time.
Beautiful.
So,
I'll be checking her out.
Yeah, why not? That's how. That's the beauty of life, right? You never know what you're going to have in common, but go ahead.
But we have so much in common, and it's just the willingness to start a conversation most of the time, which for me has been quite a journey, despite the fact that I'm a video coach and I'm a performer. Having the willingness to really go up and be brave enough to say, hi, I'm Liv, and start that conversation, it's it can be scary sometimes. And I really relate to that with people who I coach, because they have it with a camera. You know, they feel that shyness with a camera in front of their face. But yeah, having the willingness, and then the courage and the confidence starts to unfold, you know, but you've got to take that first step, that first action.
Well, great segue, because we were talking about clarifying for people that number one, to use video effectively, you don't have to be extroverted. Actually, Olivia, or do you prefer Olivia or Liv? Which you?
I get called Liv a lot, and I do prefer that. But I also just want, people, whatever people feel comfortable with, you know, it's fine with me.
All right, go with Liv. It's Liv from here on out. All right, so Liv and I, in the green room, as they call it, where we set up, we were talking about behavioral characteristics. And again, both of us are more on the introverted side, which might be hard to understand. So again, if you're in the comments or watching now and you're not commenting, then don't be shy. It's okay. If you're introverted and you think, oh my goodness, I don't know what, you know, just say something, and then we know you're here. So yeah, don't assume that you have to be a highly trained extrovert to do video stuff. In fact, I think people that tend to be more introverted actually, I think, have a lot more sensitivity to what really shows them well on video. Whereas, you know, if you're more extrovert, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think they can. And you know, for me, it's all about coming back home to who you are, you know, in life. And when we, you know, we grow up, we become adults, and we have experiences, and some are good and some are bad, and some of them can shut us down or shut parts of us down. Maybe we've been told we're too much, we're not enough, and we start to include these narratives in our life, and then they start to show up in these present moments, like when we're recording ourselves on video, and there's no place for it anymore. That's an old narrative. So it's about, you know, leaning into it, sending it love, forgiving that person. Maybe it's forgiving yourself and saying, this no longer serves me. I'm just going to do Olivia. I'm just going to be me today. Because there are going to be people who resonate with you, whether you're introverted or extroverted, whether you're shy, confident. You know, there are so many people on this planet, and we're all so different and so unique. There are going to be people who resonate with you regardless of what your personality is. And it's also not your job to get everyone to like you or to resonate with you. That's a pretty unrealistic goal, and it's not even your business. It's not your business. That's out of your control. So really coming back home and being who you are, that's what we want on camera. We don't want to, my friend Michelle Raymond, she always says it's like you have a digital twin, and there should be no discrepancy between your, you know, digital half and the half, you know, in person, the person that people meet in real life in a physical setting. You know, these people are the same. You don't have to share everything. You can choose what you want to discuss and what you want to share online, of course, but really we need to be that same person. We don't want any splintering happening.
Well, you've just taken me back to a full circle moment 3 years ago, and I've gone goosebumpy trying to not acknowledge the emotion. So I went to a LinkedIn local, and I literally, I hadn't gone to many. It was in Los Angeles, your favorite city. And I literally happened to almost bump into Brian Schulman. Brian Schulman was beta testing LinkedIn Live for LinkedIn at that time, and he was live streaming the event. So he turned to me, and I had a badge on, and he caught me so off guard. First of all, he said, "Hey, Bruce, this is LinkedIn video. Say something." And I'm like, thinking, how does he know my name? Like, duh, I have a name badge on. But more importantly, our guest speaker was actually Diana Nguyen. So
yeah, I know Dee Dee. Yeah, she's a good friend of mine. I know her from acting and LinkedIn, but yeah. And I know Brian, when he came out to Australia, I did catch up with him, and we shared a taxi because we lived close to each other, and poor guy was suffering with jet lag, so he almost
Yeah.
fell asleep by the end of the trip.
I saw some of those videos because he's got this is LinkedIn video, and I think you're
Yeah,
on one of them, right?
I think so. I think so.
Yeah, you are. Anyway, so yeah. So Dancing Diana. So back to that. So I got to chit chat with Diana, and at that time I was doing a corporate job, and then I was being Bruce. And we had I remember it so clearly. We had this discussion about me and my digital twin, and I said to her, you know, I get confused which one I am. She said, Bruce, you are only one body. You're one heart, you're one mind, you're one soul. You just got to be you. And I was acting this corporate charade. And then I was Bruce. So, and
it's not uncommon.
A lot of people get sucked into that. And the main reason I was acting the corporate charade is that they were super unsupportive of my use of video. And then when I became a live stream host, they were very, very unhappy. So, and what was amazing is my blue shirt is the same color as their logo. And it's like,
matchy.
It was like, I don't get this. But anyway, so we had a few interesting conversations around that, to the point where basically I stopped even saying who I was when I worked with them. But what was really funny, fast forward, is after I did a lot of live streaming, when I used to go to the locations, people didn't used to call me Bruce. They say, oh, the guy in the blue shirt's turned up for a meeting, or
love it.
Oh, the guy in the blue shirt's trying to tell us what to do.
Perfect branding, isn't it? When you've got a visual thing that people can identify you with, it's, even if it's accidental, it's very clever.
Yeah. Well, actually, it was accidental. So at a different LinkedIn local meeting, I met Gracie Ruth Melendez, and Gracie could never remember my last name. Sometimes she remembered my first name. And I heard her say at a couple of different meetings, because I was volunteering, she said, oh, just go ask that guy in the blue shirt. And I thought, that's kind of interesting. So I actually sponsored the buffet for her little finger food at her LinkedIn local Pasadena, the last one that she had. And when she introduced me, she said, oh, and the finger food buffet was sponsored by, the guy in the blue shirt. So from that night onwards, I never had it, and I added it to my LinkedIn profile the following morning, and it's stuck. So I have to thank Gracie Ruth Melendez, and Brian Shulman and Diana. They were the three people, not on purpose, but very purposely, actually helped me get really in tune with my brand. And so
so lovely that we have these people help us on the way. They're kind of just angels that pop in, you know. Diana was maybe the second person I ever did a video interview with. This was before live streaming, and she was just so generous. And we did it, you know, in the middle of Melbourne City. That's where I used to live. And at the time she was doing karaoke. So I interviewed her on video in the middle of this city with people around us. And then at the end, she's like, now we've got to do karaoke. So then we also ended up doing karaoke in the middle. You know, it's Burke Street in the city. It's just one of the busiest places you could possibly be in Melbourne. But it was so much fun. And she helped me to get even more, you know, out of my shell and to get more comfortable with the direction that I was heading as a video coach, you know, to really put yourself out there. Yeah.
Hey, if you can find the video, you should drop it in the comments when it
I'll have to. All right. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be, because you know what is interesting, and I know as a video coach, you probably encourage this. Go back to the first time you ever caught yourself on video, and then take a look at how you are today, right? Because so what's the reason for that? I know that would be a coaching.
Oh, look, I talk about the 1% rule all the time, you know, because sometimes video seems like such a big beast for some people. And I always say just 1%, 1%. Try to improve your script by 1%. Try to improve how you feel in your body by 1% before you press record. Try and improve the lighting by 1%. Just really break it down small, small, small. And what happens is over time, all those 1%ers add up. So if you look at your first video compared to your 10th or your 50th video, wherever you are in your journey, if you've been just trying to help the lighting or the audio or try a different visual look or, you know, warm up your voice or get more succinct with your message, you know, by the time you've done 10 videos or 20, you're going to see a massive improvement. And it's important that we look back and we are able as well, because we're looking at ourselves. It is important to create a healthy lens in which we can watch ourselves back. And, you know, if we do have an inner critic or a really judgmental voice, to start to really get on top of that and to look for the facts and evidence so that we can play it back, we can get that feedback, we can be constructive and put it back into the next video to make that better as well.
Right.
It's really, it's actually really important to watch yourself back, which that in itself can be a skill for some people. I know as an actor, for me, I would love filming a scene, and playing it back initially would be so hard, but I had to do it. I had to get better at doing it. So I knew where I was going in the scene and how I could improve that character or that story arc, you know?
Yeah. Well, sidebar, I gave my inner critic a voice. His name's Chipmunk Charlie.
I love it. Mine's Elizabeth.
Well, because he talks like, and it's so freaking annoying.
Yeah. And it is. It's finding ways to lean into all these parts of ourselves, because if you were being mean to that inner critic, if you're bullying your inner critic, it's actually encouraging that.
It's
tone.
fueling his
passion to continue.
Yeah.
So it's going back to, you know, that sort of inner child and thinking, well, how would I talk to myself if I was 6 years old? You know, be really gentle, so that we can start to coach out the vulnerability and the kindness and that authentic essence, so we feel safe enough to be here in this space and to share ourselves in our most truest version. Yeah.
Right. Well, here's what I did. I created a positive voice based on a real life guy, and his name's Alex.
Yep.
And so a couple of weekends ago, I actually got to spend some time in the pit lane, his name, because he's Alexander Rossi, and I was like within arm's reach of touching him, and I just watched him. I just watched how cool and calm and how professional he was, and every time Chipmunk Charlie shows up, I have to go and say, hey, Alex, go deal with him, or take him on vacation, or take him for a walk, and it's amazing. Even those two simple steps, people might think it's kind of quirky, but that helps.
Whatever works for you. It's, you know, in this process in life, and hi, Russ, by the way, good afternoon. It's morning for me here, but good afternoon to you. It's important that we find ways to lean into this, and it's actually no one else's business. Whatever works for you works for you. And we need to learn to give ourselves permission. Don't wait for someone else, and to validate ourselves. So if you know, friending your inner critic and having a dialogue with them helps you, if giving them some airtime before you get on camera helps you, then go for it. You know, give yourself permission. You do what works for you. You don't need to check in with anyone else. But we do, even that, we're so used to asking other people for permission, and we're so sometimes used to waiting to get validation from others. And we need to be the person in our life that does that first.
Okay. Well, mine today was, I have a little routine before I host, and I have a non-alcoholic drink, and then I push weight with my dumbbells for a little bit.
Yeah, get the energy going. Yep.
Well, actually, to dispel Chipmunk Charlie, because, you know, Chipmunk Charlie will say, well, what if you mess up? What if you say the wrong thing? What if you don't get the right questions for Liv? And, you know, blah, 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 blah.
You know what I love about that too, how you use your dumbbells, is I often say to people, you know, when you've got, when people are talking to me about their fear and their judgments, I'm saying to them, you're in the bad neighborhood. You're stuck in your head. You're stuck in your
Yeah,
thoughts. So how do we get out of this bad neighborhood? And it's through action. It's often doing something physical
yeah,
to shift those thoughts and to retrain that neural pathway so that we start sending a different
right,
message back home, you know. So what you're doing is brilliant. You know, I often tell people maybe try some mindfulness or maybe try some kind of activation
right.
exercise, which is what you did, you know, so that we can get out of the bad neighborhood and into our heart and into our body and really present with the present moment with this wonderful person, Bruce, in front of me, you know. So yeah. Yeah.
Well, I also shared with you offline that I hate discombobulation and clutter. So I was also looking at all the cables that I need to put in the cable organizers now that I've reconnected my cable after cutting it in half yesterday. So
Love it. Love it. I'm very much the same as Bruce. I don't like too much mess. I like things ordered and not too much chaos for Olivia. I do like a bit of structure.
yeah. Well, interesting enough, Russ is an interesting guy. He's a multiple channel live stream host as well. So
Fab.
if you're ever looking for opportunities,
In life.
I'm pretty certain that Marcello
Atlanta.
came on. Yeah, Marcello, hello.
Hello,
Yeah.
Atlanta. I've never been. I would love to go there.
All right, Atlanta, and hey, we got Los Angeles. Russ is in Salem, outside of Portland, and
I've been
actually,
to Portland.
well, Salem's about 30-ish miles, and I'm actually not only going to Portland to watch the Portland International Raceway IndyCar race on September 4th. I'm actually getting to see Russ in person in his local cafe in Salem. So
Love it.
I've known Russ for a while digitally, so we're going to meet in person. So I love doing that.
Beautiful. You got to take this offline when you can. It's the best when you have these relationships through LinkedIn or wherever you've met, and then to actually be face to face. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah,
I'm a little bit jealous.
Oh well,
But
I'm
I
sure.
can't come over to Portland.
Not
Well,
yet.
not yet.
Anyway,
Not yet.
right.
Yeah.
Never say never, right? In the same
Exactly.
way
You
that,
never know. I'm 100% with you on that, Bruce.
yeah, you never know. And then the other recommendation I would give, even though I've not been a good student of this, is say yes and then figure it out after.
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly, that has been pretty much my trajectory in life because I've been acting and performing, and that wasn't always a very stable, you know, path to
Right,
follow. And then I would always get jobs that would support the acting, you know. And so I was always saying, yes, I can do that. I can do that job because I just needed a job so I could do, you know, the creative stuff. So I was saying yes all the time and then just figuring it out as I went,
right.
which turned out to be such a strength, you know, um,
It
a
is.
good a good tool to develop.
It is, and I wasted a lot of my time by procrastinating or saying no before. So
Yeah. Yeah, and that's okay too. Sometimes there's a reason why we procrastinate, you know, and sometimes we just need to light that fire and go
right,
for it. But I know
sure.
now is as good a time as ever, right?
Say yes. Well, actually, and the way I do it is my big strategic or BHAG's big, hairy, audacious goals I put on a vision board. So I'm 4 out of 6, and Australia's number 6. So I've started the planning. So it's gonna
Love
happen.
it.
I know.
We might be able to connect depending where in Australia you go or where we can time it
Yeah, we'll
to
figure it
catch
out.
up.
And then
Yeah,
and then number 5 is being a digital nomad for 3 weeks, which is what I'm doing. Heading out to Portland and Salem and Laguna
beautiful.
Seca and San Jose and past it. I got lots of people I've already lined up to meet on my extended road trip. So a 3-week digital nomad. So we'll see. We'll see
Mm,
how that
mm.
goes. I'll be live
Loving the
streaming.
goals.
Yeah, I'll be live streaming from all sorts of unusual places.
Great, great. Well, we'll have to tune in. I love this comment. Procrastination can be good if done effective. I'm intrigued by that.
Yes, absolutely. Well, procrastination, yes, if it is effectively done, is sometimes a way to either gather more data or to maybe sit in your thoughts about, are you doing the right thing or are you making the right decision? There's nothing wrong in that. And in fact, a misnomer about my method, interesting enough, even though it's simpler, faster, better, I have to always get people to slow down a little bit to make things simpler first and then better, and then they can go faster. A lot of people think it's cutting corners or cutting quality, but simpler, faster, better. The faster comes as a multiple of making it simpler and better. So,
You know, that's the same with video or with acting. You
yeah,
really have to start slowly to get the parts of the machine before it all starts, adding up
right,
and being a fluid thing. And saying, when I act on stages, when you first get that script, you've got to do the script analysis. You've got to read and read and read and do the research and do it's actually really slow before you can finally get to a point where you can kind of leave that work at the door and fly with it. So
right.
I understand. Yeah.
So what's one of the funniest employee retention videos that you've done that you can talk about without?
To be honest, I think it's when they get their own idea. So, I might work with them on some content ideas. Often they'll have their own ideas because it's for a certain project or, the certain pillars of their brand and the values that they're wanting to amplify. But it's when they get their own ideas. And so over the years, I've seen a couple of really funny blooper reels because they have that idea to go, well, that's a funny way to really show our truer selves to our
Right,
colleagues, because it's in the stuff up. It's in the mistake where
right,
we reveal so much more about our character and who we are and those vulnerable moments. So
right.
that's actually really gold when they're willing to do that, because of course, videos to an extent, they're still going to be professional and they're going to be educational, or they're going to, provide certain information, right? But the blooper reel is always just a great personality insight where we get to see how humane people are, which I love.
Right.
So I've been privy to a few funny blooper reels, which they don't always share, out on LinkedIn. Some of them stay internally, but it's been fun to witness that.
Oh, you just led me into a beautiful segue. So, what's Liv's best blooper moment?
Oh my goodness.
Come on, you can get red. It's okay. You can be embarrassed.
No, well, I was actually, to be honest, I wasn't even thinking of video just then. I was thinking on on stage when I
Oh,
was
okay, that would
playing
work.
a couple of years ago in Melbourne. I was doing The Importance of Being Earnest on
Oh,
Oscar
cool.
Wilde.
Great
I was
play. Yeah.
playing Gwendolyn, and they had this beautiful big costume for me, this big material skirt that would fly out, and I had this scene where I come on stage and I fly in because I'm looking for my love, but the skirt went so wide that it just smashed all the glasses that were props, in the set. And it was just one of those moments because the scene was so fast. That's where
Oh,
the
yeah.
comedy was. It's slapstick, and like everything just smashed. And my fellow colleague, actor Ross, we just looked at each other. But fortunately, it was a scene where Merriman, the waiter, the butler,
Right.
it made sense just to call him in and clean that up immediately, as if it was his fault, not ours. So we were able to use it to our advantage. But you get off stage and you're like, you're like, oh my God, and are you okay? But in those moments, you're just so alive, because you have to think on the spot. You're in the moment, you're like,
Right.
what are we going to do? So that was a big blooper, but it was fun. It was fine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know what is cool is when the blooper turns out to be, hey, can you do that again? I mean, they're the best bloopers, right?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I do watch some back sometimes if I've done a filming day. And at the time, it might have been frustrating, but you play it back and you're like, oh, that is funny. Like, just chill out, Olivia. It's fine. It's just, they're good they're a good pulse check.
Yeah, they are. All right. Well, so what have you got coming up from now till the end of the year? I know staying dry because you had a bad
Yeah,
start,
I know,
a
I
wet
know.
start to the year.
With the wet season, so going to definitely enjoy spring and the dry season. But in terms of work, I am working with a few clients at the moment. We've got a few projects coming up, and also I'm looking at live streaming. I'm looking at
Awesome.
developing my YouTube channel. I'm looking actually at a lot of the creative aspects, which I haven't really bought into this business because it's been a few crazy years, so it's been a little bit stop-start, but I want to bring more of the fun and the play and the creativity. So I'm looking to do live streaming. I'm looking to create more fun content. It's still educational. That's still going to help, my customers. But I guess bring more of Olivia. So the digital twin is, on par and the same, and we're having a good time and we're inspiring people to be themselves. When they jump in the video lane. So that and a few products happening. I'm looking at doing like a speaker skills boot camp. So I'll put I'll do an expression of interest for that. And quite a few things happening. I've got a workshop in Sydney coming up, and it's going to be good. I've got a little bit of travel coming up too for the second part of this year, which I'm looking forward to. So I'll be in Sydney and Melbourne around October, November.
Hey, you better stop by and Gillian Mulholland.
Yes, yeah, she's a great friend of mine. She stayed with me when she came up to Byron Bay earlier this was that this year? Yeah, before it rained. So, yep, she came and stayed with. Yeah.
So Gillian, she's doing really well on YouTube now. So
she's very creative and she's so funny. Like her sketch comedy skills are awesome, and she's a singer. So she's the triple threat. She's actually I'm sad that I won't be in Melbourne for this, but she's actually singing live at a bar that I used to go to. I think in 2 weeks' time. I'm so happy that she's got that gig and she'll be performing again. But yeah, Jill is amazing. She's also been really instrumental and helpful with me in my journey here on LinkedIn and with my business.
Yeah, it's September 2 from 5 till 9.
It's my birthday.
Oh, well, hey, it's meant to be. Yeah, Gillian will be one of the, she doesn't know it yet, but she'll be one of the people I want to meet in person. So I want to meet her, Diana, Pauline and the Win, Kiki, Tima, KJ Wong, Edzia, yourself if we can, Sophie Braytag. And they've all been prior live guests of mine. So I figured, hey, why not? And I'm really following in Brian's footsteps. 3.5, 4 years ago is when I think he was in Australia with
time. Oh my God, I can't believe. I was thinking, I know that was before, restrictions happened, and time just goes. But no, it's honestly all those people that you've mentioned, they've been so helpful for me. Since I jumped into this world, and they're great. I hope I can meet up with you when you're here, and maybe even when you're with them. So we'll see what happens.
Okay. Oh, Megan Edwards as well. I can't forget Megan. Megan Edwards.
She's great.
Oh yeah, she's amazing. So lots of amazing people. So we'll see. Hopefully they'll come through and we can do an informal LinkedIn local in a couple of different spots. That would be my joy and wish, because it's a great way to leverage people's time, and it gives them a fun place to go. And hey, never know, we might end up at Pauline Nguyen's restaurant. So
yes.
Have you been?
Beautiful.
Have you been to her restaurant?
No, I haven't. I know I became aware of Pauline through Diana, and then I started, researching and seeing what her journey has been. And she's quite a force, but I haven't met her face to face. I just feel like I know her really well from her footprint on the internet. Yeah.
Very, very transparent for sure.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Well, awesome. So what's the best way for people to get a hold of you if they want more information or
Look,
just
if you're on LinkedIn, find me on LinkedIn and let me know that you saw this today and we can connect that way. Otherwise, I'm redoing my website at the moment. It will be live again soon. It's glowwithliv.com. Otherwise, just send me an email. My email address is hello@glowwithliv.com. And you can see Glow with Liv in my title.
Sure.
So that's how you spell it.
Hey, and on the replay, feel free to drop the links in there so
Will do.
people
Great.
can make it. All right. So I can never remember to say what the right thing at the end of my live. So Mr. Devin James, help me with a little outtake video. So don't run away. I want you to.
You're frustrated that you have no time and you just hate it. You lost your mind. You're running around the kids and the spouse, and the business that was once your passion has got you burnt out. So, consult with Bruce, the guy in the blue shirt. He'll help you find the truth so that you can do you first. See, it's all about simpler, faster, better, so you can save massive amounts of time and money instead of longing for the day where you can finally kick your feet up. Oh, do yourself a favor. Call up Bruce. He'll tell you about process cleanup.
Yay! I love that. That was so sweet. So creative.
That's Devin. So I'm meeting Devin on the afternoon of September 5th, which is what we call Labor Day here. So
beautiful. Well, good job, Devin. I thought that was really very funny, very sweet.
Oh, he's super creative. And so, yeah, if you ever need any creative twist on your message, then
I know.
It didn't take me I just supplied materials and told him the feeling that I wanted him to create. And that's what he came back with.
Aren't people so clever?
Oh,
I mean, that for him is, I don't know how long it took him to create, but it's, you know, that someone can take information, ingest it, and then come out with that. And I mean, we all do it in some way, in our own way, in our own field, and with our own skills. But I look at someone who has skill sets like that, and I'm like,
yeah, like how the heck, right? Yeah, and we did 2 minor edits. That was it, and
wonderful,
it was phenomenal.
spot on.
All right,
It's like he could read your mind, which is a beautiful skill too.
right.
Anyway.
Well, and he's worked for other people. That's how I found him, and they were equally blown away with his creative ability. So awesome stuff. All right, we'll hang for a minute, and thanks everyone for being in the comments. And Marcello came in, and Russ, and all the others, Mr. Groovy. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And if you're watching this as #replay and you have those hard questions for Liv, then get them in the comments. She would love to comment back, right?
I'm happy to answer them, any questions that come up, and happy to connect as well. So ask away.
All right. Hang tight, Liv. Bye, everybody. Good night or good morning.